English vowels are extremely confusing because Y is ball and cat pronounced differently, but they're both spelt with one A in the middle. We'll find out why in this video. Have you ever looked at an English word and thought, yes, I know how to say this because I know how to pronounce all the letters. That's great, but you might still be pronouncing it wrong. For example, let's take the word book. We all know this word. I like to read books. Book is spelt with O-O, B-O-O-K. Right. What about food? Food, that's another easy English word we know, but do they sound the same? No, they absolutely do not sound the same. And that's what makes English so confusing. So these two words, book and food, right? Ooh, book, ook. So they make two different sounds even though they share the same vowel double O spelling. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the most confusing vowel patterns that we have in English and learn how we are actually supposed to pronounce these words. So first of all, one letter can have multiple sounds. For example, the letter O. So let's listen to these words. Go, hot, love, do. Now, do they sound the same? If I say hot and love, does the O make the same sound in those two words? No, they don't. But of course, if you are a first-time English language learner and you see the two words that have the same spelling with one O in the middle, we are going to assume or think that that should be pronounced in the same way that they were taught before, which is probably just aw. Even the two words go and do. Go, O. Do, ooh, O, ooh. So again, they make completely different sounds. We cannot say goo or dough, then whoever you're speaking with will be very confused. We can also use the letter A as an example for this. So let's take the word cat. Meow, meow. We all know this one. Cat. Or father, cat, ah, father, ah. So again, the singular A can make two different sounds depending on the other letters around it. Same thing with cake. Let's take cake and cat. Again, they both are pronounced with the CA, but we pronounce the cake with the long A and cat with the short A sound. We can go on and on. There's so many words in English that share the same pattern like this. We have more words like awesome or amazing. Amazing is a good example. This one has two A's, but they're both pronounced differently. Amazing. So we have the short A and the long A in the middle. And then awesome, we have AW, and this combination AW automatically makes the aw sound instead of a. We don't say awesome, we say awesome. Now let's get into some more complex vowel combinations. So the vowels don't just have singular letters in English, we also have the vowel combinations. which means we take two vowels and put them together to make one sound. And this sound, when they're together, is not the same sound as when they are singular. So, for example, let's take a word like caught. C-A-U-G-H-T. So here the A and the U together make the aw sound. What about O-U? We can say loud. L-O-U-D. Loud. Ow. Now we have the ow sound. So you have the aw, the ow, and other ones as well. Now let's take a look at these words. Boat, coat, road. All of these have the OA. So we can think that the OA combination makes the O sound, road. However, be careful. What about this word? B-R-O-A-D. Do we say broad? No, of course not. Now we say broad. Now the O becomes the aw sound. Why? Because English is confusing. That's why. Now let's look more at our double O's. So in words like food, book, and blood, right? Food, ooh, book, ok, oh, and blood, Now we get a new sound too. Blood, flood, right? All of these words have the double O spelling in the middle of the word. However, as you can hear, they are all pronounced very differently. Food, moon, school, okay. Book, look, took, okay. Flood, blood, okay. Then we have the dreaded EA vowel combination. This one is super tricky. For example, I'll show you quickly what I mean. Team is spelled T-E-A-M. However, you have the word learn. Learn is spelled L-E-A-R-N. So, team and learn, again, those two letters EA make completely different sounds, and this really confuses English learners because they think they got it, they know the pattern, and they want to follow that same pattern. However, it is not possible to follow the same pattern because this word is pronounced differently. It does not follow the same pattern that you previously learned. Team, clean, speak, head, bread, dead, okay. And then we have this word, read, R-E-A-D. Now, read can also be read in the past tense, but it's spelled the same, R-E-A-D. So this one is super tricky because depending on if you're speaking in the present tense or past tense, we pronounce it differently. So for example, I will read my book later today, or I read my book yesterday. And to make it even more confusing, we also have the color red, which is spelled R-E-D, but is pronounced the same as the past form of read. So maybe now you're asking, why, teacher? Why is English like this? And the best explanation is just due to history, historical influences. So the English language had a lot of influence with the French language, Greek, Roman, all of these different languages influenced English as well back in the historical days, way back when, before I was born. We have a lot of French English words as well that we still use in English speaking. However, because it has come from French origins, maybe the pronunciation or the spelling is a bit different than what we would originally think with our other English rules that we follow. Interestingly enough, pronunciation of vowels and other letters have actually changed drastically over time as well. So that is another reason how it has impacted these kind of words that seem very strange, even though they share the same spelling or same vowels, we do not actually say them in the same way. So the ultimate question then is, how do we learn these vowels if they're so complicated? I get this question all the time, and basically the easiest way to do it is to learn the families, learn the word families, the categories that share the same pronunciation, rather than trying to memorize every single letter in each word. So for example, like boat, coat, road, and soap. Right? All of these share the same O sound with the OA, so we can learn these together, and then the ones that do not share that one, like the U sounds, then we can learn those in a separate category instead. Cool, school, tool, right? You memorize all of these ones too with the oo double O sounds. And then you go on like that for all the other combinations and vowels as well. So the next time you're looking at a word and you're not quite sure how to pronounce it, do not feel too bad. You are not bad at English. English is just super tricky and confusing to understand. But try to memorize the word families. You can write them down in a notebook or on a piece of paper in each category, and then you can label it as the oo or the o or the a, and then go from there. That way it's much easier to memorize the different words and learn how to pronounce them as well. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to subscribe to my channel to see all of my latest videos. Goodbye!